Hi, this week I'd like to talk about leadership. The 21st century brought about significant changes compared to the 20th century. There's changes, economic changes, and changes in, if you think in the climate and energy, and then market conditions and finances, as most companies today have the opportunity to operate globally. At least they're affected by global economy. So considering that, some people question the value of leadership approaches that were developed for 20th century conditions. Bryman kind of referred to this concept as new leadership, and that the primary components of new leadership were transformational, transactional, and laissez-faire approaches. So I want to talk about those. The transformational leadership is the big picture part of leadership. It focuses on vision and inspiring organizational members to work towards that vision. Foresight is an important characteristic in a dynamic world economy. Motivating employees and building a commitment to purpose is important, and transformational leadership tends to be proactive. In general, the higher the position in the organization of the leader, the greater the need for transformational leadership. And it's it's classified as what we call normative approach or a value-based approach. Transactional leadership focuses on the day-to-day tasks of leaders. These would be things like job assignments, clarifying tasks, reinforcing successful employee behavior, monitoring day-to-day performance. When transactional leadership behaviors are overused, then it becomes a definition of micromanaging. It tends to be reactive. And in general, the closer the leader's position is to the operational level of the organization, say for example like first line supervision, then the higher the percentage of time they would use transactional behaviors. Situational leadership, which is well known today, is a good example of transactional leadership. Laissez-faire, the third one, for most people it has negative connotations because they think it's doing nothing. But if you think about it, in today's organizations, leaders also have tasks or duties they need to perform, and they're not leading when they do that. And it occurs more often in today's organizations. It is hands-off from an employee's point of view. So the leader basically mentors or coaches the employee only when there appears to be a need. So it's an inactive leadership approach with employees. It assumes the employee is performing without the need of a leader. Now, it's not something new. Lippitt and Lewin in the mid 20th century had a leadership model, autocratic, participative, and laissez-faire. And there's really a lot of relevance to that model still today. Today's leadership requires a contingency approach. Because of increasing complexity in organizations, leaders need to use a mix of transformational, transactional, and laissez-faire approaches. And foresight has become one of the most important characteristics because of how rapid conditions can change. For example, when the financial market in Greece collapsed, it affected manufacturing in the United States overnight. Even bigger change was the financial collapse here in 2008, for example, where the auto market literally collapsed overnight, and there wasn't any CEOs at that time in the auto industry that foresaw that happening. That includes the Japanese and the Germans, as well as the U.S. leaders. Leadership and ethics is a concern today. There appears to be too many companies and leaders that are focused on profits alone. And this has resulted in many ethical violations and incidents of fraud, starting with the Enron And because of that, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act was passed, which provides for regulation of corporate practices in reporting and brings more transparency to the reporting. In an age of greed, and those are not my words, those are the words of Alan Greenspan, a normative approach to leadership may be the answer. So we need stronger values in leadership today. And these normative approaches, they include things like stewardship, principled leadership, and servant leadership. Donna Zohar, and Donna Zohar is from Toledo and later became a professor at Harvard. She describes the business climate today as being driven by Newtonian science, technology, and a survival of the fittest attitude. She said in her book, ruthless pursuit of competitive advantage in a world whose resources, its own practices, are constantly diminishing. She went on to say business is destined ultimately to consume first its own resources and then itself. And this very well may explain the financial collapse of 2008. Wall Street complained that truthful reporting of accounting caused the collapse by exposing their losses, when in fact Johnson would counter and say, no, it was the forcing Wall Street to do truthful reporting actually exposed their bad investments, which in many cases were unethical and in some cases were illegal. Zohar describes three types of capital in organizations. The traditional is material capital, which refers to money and material advantage. It's what we think of most often. Social capital is the wealth that makes our communities and organizations function for the common good, or what we refer to as corporate social responsibility. And then she also identifies spiritual capital, which doesn't have anything to do with religion, but it describes shared meanings and values and ultimate purposes or shared purposes. In Zohar's leadership that focuses beyond just material capital, leadership today should focus on all three types of capital. And this is needed in order for business to sustain itself in a competitive world environment. And she calls for a normative approach to organizations like servant leadership. Servant leadership, the term was coined by Robert Greenleaf in his 1970 essay titled The Servant Leader. He was actually inspired by the novel The Journey to the East by Hermann Hesse. It's an approach to leadership that focuses on enhancing personal growth of people while improving the quality and caring of organizations. So it addresses all three forms of capital, and it places the needs and service of others over self-interest, and certainly we need more of that today. The servant leadership outcomes are those being served by the servant leader. Number one, they grow as persons, they become wiser, more autonomous, and I like this last one, they're more likely themselves to want to become servant leaders. Some characteristics of servant leaders: listening as a foundation, they express empathy, they practice healing, addressing the spiritual side of leadership, and that lots of organizational members are in need of that, where they feel they've been violated by the organization sometime during their service. Servant leaders, characteristic of awareness, keeping in touch with themselves and others. Persuasion, beginning with the end in mind. Conceptualization, seeing the big picture, certainly foresight on the list. Stewardship, being accountable. Commitment to the growth of people and building community. Servant leaders have the desire to develop and grow. They're able to focus inward on their own development. It begins within and extends out from there. In other words, they have a calling to serve. Requires listening to the strong feelings of the inner self, contemplation, and acting accordingly. And they're fully congruent with their actions and feelings. Always like that researcher Don Johnson's definition of a bad decision is something you do that contradicts your values. So servant leaders are aware of their values and their actions are aligned. Notice the measures of effectiveness in servant leadership are different. Do those being served by the leader grow as persons? Are they healthier? Are they wiser? Are they freer, more autonomous? Are they more likely to become servant leaders themselves? And what is the effect of the leader on the least privileged members of the group? Do they benefit from the leader's actions, and at the very least, are they not further deprived? They should not further be deprived. References used in this, Bryman, DeGraff, Tilley, and Neal, Gordon, the Hartog, Mujian, and Kupin, and Johnson and Zohar. I wanted to highlight this link here. When you these references are listed in the transcript, and this for more information on servant leadership, you might want to check out this link here on the Greenleaf Center, and because there's information that's available through them. Thank you.